Good morning, everyone. First of all, I hope all of you are safe and sound. This is Naveen William from the campus recruitment team of Virtusa. I welcome you all for this special session on positive intentions. As Dalai Lama said, if you want to carry out a positive action, it is first essential to develop a positive intention. Since saying that, I'd like to introduce Dr. Ashwin, who's an impactful leader and a veteran in IT skill set with more than 24 years of experience. He has worked in various domains such as retail, banking, education, travel, logistics, etc. Along with Virtusa, he has worked in top tier companies like Wipro, TCS, and Infoview. He likes interacting with freshers and mentor students from across the country. He has completed his PhD in Chitkara University on employability of fresh graduates in IT. What else can you expect more? With this, I would like to provide the session to Dr. Ashwin. Welcome, Ashwin.
Thanks, Naveen. Thanks, Kriti, for the opportunity. It's always a pleasure to address the faculty and the students who have joined in. Kriti, you're able to hear me, right? Clear? Audio is clear? Yeah. Okay. So thanks for the opportunity. Let me go on to the presentation. So I always like to start off with my Kriti. You're able to see my presentation, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. So this is my. I always suggest each one of you have one statement or one inspirational thought, and the thought can keep changing. But if somebody asks you what keeps you going, you should have at least one thought. For me, it is dream is not what you sleep in, what you see in sleep. Dream is something which doesn't let you sleep. So that's Dr. Abdul Kalam's quote, and that keeps me moving. And a lot of very deep meaning into this. And thanks for this opportunity. I will always like to thank the Almighty for this opportunity. The next 1 hour, let it be useful to all of you who are listening, and useful to me also. Okay, so getting into this was the crux of the entire series, and this is part of an 8-week series that I've started giving along with the GTP team of Virtusa, certified versus qualified. So in terms of the entire theme is based on this. How do you not only get certification, how do you also qualify for a job? So you are all in a degree, whether it is an engineering degree, BCom degree, whatever degree, you will definitely get certified. Can you also get qualified? So it's not qualification is more than certification. It two have to stay together, and that's where you become employable. And we have seen it through my career, through my lot of my 25 years of career. I've seen this happen. And qualification is just not one time. It is actually because the technology changes in every field, and you need to keep yourself qualified. The process is changing. This pandemic has taught us that whatever we have learned is not that useful. So we need to learn new things. So qualification is not one time. Qualification is a lifelong process. So that's what the entire theme is about. We touched, these are the eight areas. And if people have missed a couple of previous sessions, you can still go to the links are already shared in LinkedIn and Facebook. You can go and check it out. The technology skills, we started with technology skills, management skills, communication skills. Today's focus area will be positive intention. And anyone having any questions, please start putting that in the chat window. When the session gets over, we will take up questions, each one of the questions, and take it forward. So this is then, and the next 4 sessions will be on emotional intelligence, soft skills, personal USP, and learning skills. Today's focus specifically on positive intention. But initially, what I will do is I will skim through the first 3 topics. So there is some sort of a summarized view. I won't go into the depth, but some sort of a summarized view. Okay. This is where we started the technology skills. This will be very specific to IT, but then a lot of things can be useful for this particular slide. The other things may be useful for the other streams of engineering and commerce too. So in terms of, if you're an IT person, coding should be your bread and butter. You should know coding in some language and deep language. it's not like if you know Java, you have to know Java. It has to be a 7 on 10 or 8 on 10. If you know Python, you should know that. Ideally, one scripting languages, one database is a must. You need to know inside out because that gives you a platform to learn full stack engineering, to learn AIML, to learn data and cloud. So that gives you a base. So coding, so I always, this is my favorite, this thing. In future, coding will be your resume. Whatever code you have developed, that's your resume. You should show the code, you should show a prototype, you should show a working model, and that's what will define you. So we touched upon technology skills, and these were these 7 aspects of technology that we went to: language, logical thinking, detail oriented, understanding, computing, abstract, and it's all about a scientific, but this is not an ad hoc method. The software industry works on a scientific method. Self-reliance, don't depend only on cut and paste of code, create something yourself. And this is a good slide which I would like each one of the colleges to look at when, if you are looking at structuring your syllabus or structuring your for an IT career. This is very important. Fundamentals, couple of languages, scripting languages, architecture, and full stack exposure, and then get into your expertise area where you want to get into your career. This is where we covered the previous slides were on technology skills, management skills, and there were a lot of questions even from my own friends. How come management skills are going to be important for a fresh graduate? Actually, management skills is not about only managers. Management is also self-management. How do you manage your time? How do you manage your estimation? Even if you're a fresher, people will ask you how much time you're going to take. How do you manage your learning curve? How do you manage your society, your social commitments, your family commitments, along with of your work commitments? So management is all about managing the different skills that you possess and delivering holistically. We talked about management skills, how planning and integration is important, how requirements understanding and implementation is important, how much time management is important, reporting and compliance, very big story. How much is important, big picture. This is where a lot of people lose the plot. How do you understand the big picture? Understand that what you are doing is part of a large program, and that is how critical it is. Nowadays, programs that we win are even bank projects, right? So you assume that you're writing a bank program and assuming your salary is delayed. You manage a salary, this thing, it's a big thing, right? So you should know that what you're doing is part of a big picture and what it is actually meaning. Then ability to work in teams, responsibility, integrity, decision making, compliance, and self-discipline. This is what we covered in management skills. I would suggest if you need more details, go into that second session and check it out. And we ended management with competence, commitment, and connection. All 3 are needed for productivity. If you look at you have to be building on your competency, you have to be commitment, and also connection, finding a meaning to the work. That will be productivity. Then we went on to the topic of communication. So very important skill. You would always known that communication is not only about telling, it's also about listening. In fact, more than 40-50% is listening, because only when you listen you can actually contextually reply. So listen, and there's only when you listen there you give yourself a chance to learn. So this is all, communication is all about listening, conveying and giving information, speed of communication, and also your presentation skills. Then we went into the details. It is communication is not about English or any language. It is about listening, conveying, and the relation to the goal of the communication. If goal is marketing, you should understand the communication is different. If goal is delivery, you should understand the context. The goal is understanding requirements, it's a different context. Then we also talked about the essential elements of communication, how non-verbal communication is very important, being patient, being personable, being confident, all the essential elements of communication we covered. And we covered how much non-verbal communication, whether your posture, your eyesight, your handshake, your how you dress, how you this thing, you communicate in different ways. So verbal communication is just 35%, 65% is non-verbal communication. We went deep into listening. Why, if you see, in the 70% of communication, you are at least 45% listening, okay? And then it is reading, writing, and then only speaking. So the most basic and powerful way to connect to another person is to listen. That's famous this thing on listening. Understand, you can develop your listening habit. That's a very important habit that you can develop, which you can, as I said before, by listening, you give yourself a chance to learn. Then we actually ended with this, and this leads to this discussion on positive intention. So well thought through yes and no improves communication. People say you have to always say no, always say yes. Actually, it's not like that. It should be backed up with a thought through process. You should be a confident yes. When you say yes, you should have that commitment to complete it. When you said no, you should understand that you definitely can't do it, and also give options. And reasons for the no. You may not be equipped for that task, or you may not necessarily learned for that, or you may not necessarily like it. That's a difference. So it's not part of you. It's not your passion. Whatever it is, a no should be backed up with a reason, and yes should be backed up with a commitment. So this is a very important. And having said that, always saying no gives you a very bad image to the. Because if I come to you and as a team member, you always say no, I will stop coming to you. Because see, the work has to get done. Whether you do it or somebody else does it is the question, right? So you definitely can't say no always, but you should not say yes always also. So it's a very big mixture. How you critically improve this communication of yes and no actually defines your career. So that leads on to our today's topic, positive intent. So it's a two-part, and I will, in all probability, I will quickly cover this in about 20 minutes, if I'm not 25 minutes, and we'll open up for questions. So in terms of, there's a two aspect to it. Positive intention is about self, how positive you are, how confident you are. And the second part is a very interesting concept about how can you maintain a positive intention about others, and how that second part actually helps you also in the context. So we will see these two concepts, self and others, from a concept of positive intention. And this is Socrates and not me. It says, the secret of change is to focus all your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. I get a lot of people, I don't want to do this. That's a bad statement to start off with. Start off with saying, I want to do this. I want to do something. I don't want to be in support projects. The typical thing which we hear from freshers. But then focus this thing. I want to work in a development project. Then there are avenues which we can give you, even in a support project. There are a lot of development. So you give yourself a chance when you start focusing your energy on creating something rather than negating something. We'll go deep into it. It's all about, for example, should you think about saving your job, or should you think about being productive and to keep learning? Because if you save your job, you get into a cocoon of where you think negatively. You think whatever is happening is country is not going well, job market is down, you are not able to do it, and you only talk about that particular job, which may not be relevant to the company. Say you are good at say one part of technology, and that part of the technology we don't need. So while saving your job, you actually focus on doing that better, but that's not going to save your job. But rather, how can I keep learning? How can be more relevant? How can we be more productive? How can I build trust by my commitment? If you focus on that and focus your energy on, it's a mind shift. And that helps you in a very big way in terms of focusing on energy. Because energy which you focus grows. Whatever you focus grows. Whatever you give time on grows. So that's the rule of the universe. Whatever you give time to any relationship that grows. You give any time to studies that grows. Give time to any talent that grows. So where do you focus your energy? So that's the very important point of taking a call on where you want to focus, right? Or do you want to focus on something negative or something not doing, or you want to focus on something doing? I would say focus on doing something. Rather, the famous, I don't want to learn some particular language, even your some spoken language. It's always better to say, I want to learn some language. Then you are giving yourself options. Don't start off with I don't want to. Start off with say asking what I want, what you want. We'll go deep into it. I want to be fit rather than I don't want to be sick, because I want to be fit gives you a lot of options. But I don't want to be sick is a really focusing energy on something which is wrong. I want to be protective and self-sufficient rather than I don't want to lose my job. So your intention should be on a positive rather than on a negative note. Ask yourself what is that is important to you. What is that is important? Why it is important? What can you gain from attaining the goal? If you focus energy on that part, what will happen is you will see outcomes. Then spending time reflecting on what is that you want to create an experience rather than what you want to let go, right? So important stuff. And believe me, if you have to achieve something, you have to let go a few things. If I, for example, in this pandemic, if I don't go or let go this thing, I always like talking to people in person. I always like. But if I don't let go that, now I can't talk to anybody. Because in the pandemic, how many people we meet face to face? We meet them remotely, we meet them to the internet. So very important that you are ready to let go of some of your nice to have things, but spend time on creation and experience rather than not doing. Then I want to, again, more examples. I want to be in an innovative project rather than saying I don't want to be in a mundane, not important project. What happens here is, even if you are assigned a non-important project, what happens is you can find something. You prove yourself that you're creative, that your project manager gives you a job within the project, or let's move you at another project which becomes very important. I want to work on latest technology rather than I don't want to work on old technology, because this is famous and these two things come often from freshers. Please start doing the other way. Focus on the positive way. Focus on positive intention gives you opportunity. How can we offer, even if you are in mundane activity? How can you automate? Can you write a bot? Can you write a robot which can automate stuff? So that's the power of positive intention. So the self, I think we have almost covered the self part of positive intention, where you create something, you focus your energy on creating rather than not doing. Because if you focus on not doing, there is no action. Not doing will not let you to action, but creation lets you to action, and action only delivers end of the day. So very important that you understand the concept of where you focus your energy. It's a very subtle thing, but if you understand that, it will be useful for your entire career. I would say it's useful for your life too. It's an holistic thought. Now getting on to the second part of it, I talked about assuming positive thing about yourself and starting assuming positive activities for yourself, focusing energy. It is also important that you assume that the environment are you in is which you have got into is positive. For example, when you join a company, you can't join a company say thinking that the company is waiting to chuck me out. Very important. It's a very thought-provoking point. Just think about it. When you're joining a company, you should believe that the company wants you to grow. You should believe that the company wants you to get promoted. You should believe that the company is there to protect you. Only then you will be able to do something for the company. It's like this. It's a catch-22. If you starting think this company wants to take me out, this company does not want me to grow, then what happens is you will focus the energy on that. And this is not for me. People, Indra Nooyi is one of the inspirational CEOs from Pepsi. She says, whatever anybody says or does, assume positive intent. You will be amazed on how your whole approach to a person or problem becomes very different. And this one statement, and I would like to always, when I talk, I like to think about or tell people on what I have gone through. This particular statement I've learned through part of a NLP program. No one wants to make a mistake. If you look at it, right, you don't get up in the morning and say, I want to make a mistake. I want to do something wrong. Nobody does. So if somebody is doing wrong, then you have to understand there is a positive intent to it. For example, if your manager wants you to work hard or over a weekend, it means that the project needs it. So you should understand the need. Maybe not work for the weekend. Maybe you can convince your manager, but first understand the need. Maybe you can work with your manager and going forward, automate something which will release time for everybody. So very important that you take this positive intent on others, because if you look at it, right, 95%, even very rarest of rare people want to make mistakes. If you think about it, right, then that should be handled in a different way. But 97% of the time people want to do right. They are not equipped enough, they are not taught enough, they are not considerate enough to get into those. So understand that what will happen is you will change your mindset, and when you change your mindset, you will be positive. You'll also think people want to be positive, and thus you can create magic there. So that's a very important talent. Then something to do, and what does negative intent do to the organization? If you start your work thinking the organization as negative intent, or even your college, right, it diverts attention from the mission. It slows down issue resolution. It discourages bold moves. People don't take bold moves at all. It diminishes collaboration. It reduces accountability. It damages relationship. So but why does a lot of people get into negativity? Actually, it takes very less effort, right? My country is bad. My college is bad. My company is bad. My family is bad. So it takes very less effort for a negative intent. If you look at it, right, positive intent takes energy. Negative intent takes very less effort. And lets off the hook on any contribution you may have made to the issue. So suppose there is a problem, and if you shift the problem to the company and everything, whatever you have contributed to the problem, you are not going to learn. You will think something else is wrong, and you will never going to learn. So assuming positive intent, perceived to be naive, weak, and idealistic. Actually, it's the other way around. And to imply that everyone indeed has positive intent, that's another very bad statement. You have to, it's a talent that you have to learn about getting positive intent. And this is what, and a very important point which people have to look for is an interview. When we interview a person, or when we want to take a person into the project, even after he joins the organization, he look for this positive intent. The HR looks, the manager looks, the project managers looks, the leaders look. We look for this positive intent in two aspects. We look how is the person positively thinking for himself, how positive he assumes of the situation and wants to contribute to it. So we actually, it's a technique that we have. For example, I have learned to see people. I always tell to my team, I choose my team based on this. How positive are they themselves about themselves, and how positive they think about a particular situation. Very important to differentiate these two. So I covered two aspects of positive intent. One is be positive about yourself. Be confident. There are many tools that you can use to get positive about yourself. Focus on the passion that you have. Second one is you have to also assume positive intent in others. What is the benefits of assuming positive intent? Better communication, definitely, right? Communications and relationship build. And this positive intent topic, you can use it across your life. It's not only for career. Discover more of reasoning behind their action. So you can discover a reason why it is wrong, why they are not doing, why they are doing what they are doing, and why they are not doing what they are not doing. Become open to learning. How you can influence others, develop confidence to trust. So these are better communication and relationship. Opportunity knocks at you. Positive person gets more opportunity. Bottom line. You can take it from me. Positive person gets, and the way you think positive about the company, opportunity will knock at you. We don't want to give a project to a person who thinks the company is not worth it. So, and build a stronger bond of trust. This is the most important thing. When a crisis comes for the company, for the situation, the person who puts his hand and takes will be taken care of. So you build that trust. You build that trust using positive intent. So better relationship leading to better opportunities leading to better, stronger bond of trust, and this is what differentiates you. And there is one session on USP which we'll cover in the later sessions, where one personal USP which everybody has to have is creating positivity about himself, herself, and also creating positivity of the situation, because that's the important stuff which is unfortunately missing in a lot of. I'll take an incident and I will explain it. For example, I joined, and one of these large service companies I've joined, and I can take the name, it's Wipro. And I was there in Wipro for about 15 years. And after 5 years, I became a manager, and one fresher batch, one bright guy from IIT, I think he was from IIT. He was joined us, and he was from a different stream of engineering. I think he was from mechanical, and he joined the. So he learned computers. At that point of time, there were not courses outside. So he learned computer, IT, everything in after he joined. So we were in a project. And we were in a project which. So we had to develop the screen, and this screen had to come up in about 4 seconds. So that's the expectation. And we developed the application. The application was taking, for the first time, to load up. It used to take about 25 minutes. And after that, it will take about a minute. So the customer said, this is just not acceptable. First time, okay, whatever, 15 minutes, it's fine, because then we can run a background event. But every time it has to be only 3-4 seconds. So the entire 40-member team on the project was working on this, and this fresher joined the project. And this fresher, so he can, very positive guy. When he took him, we know it's a very positive guy. And what happened was, in those discussions, in those things, he displayed something very extraordinary. He questioned not to what to say, ridicule the problem, rather than understanding. And so he understood the problem, what is happening. And we were taking some large data which doesn't change often on an every request basis. And he asked a simple question: how many times this data will change? Why are we taking it every time? And the amount of positive, because he had a positive feeling about himself, and because he was showing positivity into the account, everybody noticed his statement. And you know what? We actually listened to it, and I caught what he said. We actually prepared a detailed technology roadmap, and how can we change this entire, and the screen was coming up in exactly 3.5 seconds. And it's a lot of work. And today he joined as a fresher with a positive attitude and a positive intent. Today he is one of Fortune. He stays in the US, and he's one of Fortune's 500 companies. One part of Canada's business, IT owner, a very big role. Very big role. The business he generates is about more than a couple of billions. Okay, so that's the level of positive intention that we are talking about. When you join as a fresher, you should imagine yourself to have positivity in yourself and also have positivity on the company. Otherwise, don't join. Actually, if you are not positive of a company, don't join, because you will do good for yourself as well as for them. So that's the and this is my last slide. So in terms of, I'm almost covered what I wanted to say, but let me quickly recap. So positive intention is about 2 angles to it: positive about yourself and also positive of the environment. Okay, so that's the very important step. I will talk a little bit more, see if there are some questions, or we'll take it up. Naveen, if we can open it for questions.
Yeah, sure, Dr. Ashwin. And guys, we are not publishing all the questions. So if you mention a question, we'll read it out and then we'll publish it. Okay. Yeah. Ashwin, the first question is, uh, can we consider being confident as being positive? Are they the same things or they don't go hand in hand?
Very good question. See, I think confidence is the first step towards positive intention, and it has to be backed up with action. And this is only confident about yourself. But the next part of the story is how can we be a positive intention of the situation. So it's a very good point. It's the first point towards positive intent, a very important point. Confident about yourself, but also taking actions on it.
Okay.
I'm very confident, but if I don't act, I will never create a positivity on that. You lose your confidence also.
Got it. Thanks, Dr. Ashwin. The next question is, um, but if we are negative means we will have backup plans, right? We will be cautious if we are negative. So is
That's
negativity required to a certain extent?
Negativity is not required. Even backup is a positivity. See, saving is negative or positive. So when you save money is something really positive, right? So creating a backup. See, rather than focusing on, I need, for example, you are studying something and you want to study something else also as a backup. So I need a backup. That's a positive thought. But I am having negative thought on this thing. See, creating a backup should be created as a positive thought. So that's the differentiator.
Okay. The next is, you said positive thoughts should be learned. So is there something that you would suggest? I mean, is there a course or a book that we can study to improve positive intention?
I don't want to recommend one book. There are a lot of books. So you search on the web, you will see a lot of positive energy creation thoughts and a lot of multiple levels of it. You can go through that. But most importantly, there has to be an intent to create positivity. You have to develop, it's a process where you first think, understand why. For example, answering the question why is very important. Why do you want to get into an IT job or any job if you want to choose? That why will lead you to positive intention. So understand the why in your. You should read the book called, I forgot the author's name. Why? Okay, why is it important? I can share it as part of a later point of time. We can put it on the LinkedIn and all. So why, the power of why is a very important book. And if you read that, you will understand the questioning why, and that gives you confidence. And also thinking about the positive side of it. It's not a very, according to me, it just needs time from you and energy from you. If you start thinking, if something is transformed in you, they say, right, transformation doesn't happen by too much of reading, and it happens in a second. So you can be, and anybody can be your motivator. Your own parents can be your motivator. Your own family can be your motivator. Look for those people and look for that positivity. And once you say positive, and look for actions which you can do. The problem we say, some people say, I am very passionate about, I'm very passionate about drawing, but they don't draw at all. I'm passionate about reading. I don't get time to read. It is impossible that you are passionate and you don't get time. It's impossible. It's an bold statement for me to make, but I can vouch for you. If you are passionate about something, you will give that time, because everybody in the world has a similar resource 24 hours. So bottom line is, the question to be answered is, yes, there are multiple books and other things which you can learn to create. But most importantly, there has to be an intent to create positivity, and that to be backed up with actions.
Okay, done. Thanks, Dr. Ashwin. Next question is, it is actually a question from the placement officer of VR Siddhartha College, Vijayawada. Being a pragmatic and being a positive are different. What's your take on it?
So in terms of, I do not know the exact definition of pragmatism.
No, he has given one more line, Dr. Ashwin. He says, the ancient wisdom asks us to step back when necessary. What is your take on it? So,
step back as necessary is very important. for example, right? But that's not a negative move. You step back to bounce back. You step back to bounce back. So when you're doing something and it's not working, some people make it's actually a beautiful question. Being overconfident and just keep doing a wrong thing with positive intention also fails. So you should have a learning mechanism or a feedback mechanism, and that's where the the being positive about an environment helps you. Because if you're positive about the environment gives you the feedback, and you should think that the feedback is being given to you is not for derailing you, is actually for your benefit. So I would answer as a beautiful question that you need to take that thing, but also look for the environment to give you feedback which you can learn on. So for example, a cricket team, do you think the coaches are much more better than, sometimes the coaches are not as good as the players, but then the coach is able to look at it and give an environment. But what happens if the coach, you don't trust the coach and you don't have a positive feeling about the coach, you will not take his advice.
Got it. Thanks, Dr. Ashwin. The next one is, two people have asked the same question. How do you deal with a negative teammate? How do you deal with a negative friend? So both are kind of same.
Yeah, actually, see, beautiful question. You should understand the context of why they are negative. There is something which is, and this is one statement, and I'm not a guru in it, but what I have learned, no one wants to make a mistake. So if you use that statement, he is negative for some reason. He has lost something in life, or he has been cheated somewhere in life, or he doesn't have that education for it, or he doesn't have that. So if you give that feeling, if first of all, if you know that, right, you will first not feel negative about it. First step. So that itself will solve 50% of the problems. Once you stop feeling negative about the person, you can go on in life. So you may not be able to change it. Not every time you will be able to change people, but then that negativity will not affect you. So I go into a context of, when I'm talking to a person, I'm talking to anyone in family or anybody, if I feel that person's negativity is going to stop, I actually ignore, or I try to change. I give it a lot of time and commitment to change it, but then I don't allow that negativity to affect me. Very important, because we have to take care of us and also about them. So you try, but then first step is you understand that he is negative because of so and so reasons. So you don't allow that negativity to hit you. Second is, think if he is negative, where you are wrong. There is something negative about us also. So it's a very philosophical topic. But then if you start looking at it, right, and if you somehow give hints to the person that you are also looking into it, maybe he'll change. And bottom line, many people don't change. But then don't allow a negativity. Don't give that as a reason for yourself to be negative. That's a nice, very important point. I don't allow my team members or my situation of a team make me negative. That's very important. Naveen?
Sorry, Dr. Ashwin, I was on mute. Yeah. So we have one more question, which is, would depression be connected to any way in negative thinking? So if we are depressed, would it affect our ability to think? I'm asking this question because it is hard during this pandemic period. That's the question.
That's a very deep topic, and it's a very I'm not be able to answer it directly, but I will tell you some depressions needs specific help from people. But in terms of small rejections in corporate life and professional life, we have to learn from this. If you see an opportunity to learn, what happens is, even for example, this pandemic, right, has thrown up opportunity. I was reading something. Now you cannot give yourself a reason. There is no time to learn. Everybody has got time in some form or the other. Because first of all, if you are traveling a lot, you don't travel about 2-3 hours per a day, right? You are not disturbed by a lot of unwanted meetings. So what happens is, so now this pandemic has taught us, one thing, you can never say, because if you always wanted to learn something and you are always giving that excuse, there's no time. Now that excuse is gone because pandemic has thrown. The depression is a very big topic. I think some people will need help from someone. That I am not a qualified person to answer it. But then small mistakes and small. In fact, I would say if you're not failed, you will never be successful, because you have to fail multiple times to become successful, because that's where you learn.
And yeah, we have one final question, Dr. Ashwin. The final question is, okay, I'm just paraphrasing the question from whatever he has written. At any point of your career, when you were rejected after being positive for so much, how did you take it up?
Many times.
Yeah.
Okay. Many times does happen. So you go get into an idea, you try to go, you are the best idea, you think it's the best idea, and go and present it, and that idea is rejected. So it hurts because you spend time also, right? You spend time also. Then you also, I've learned, and it's very hard. It's a very harsh thing to happen. And what happens is, and also when people compare you with other people, right? That's another bad thing, which we do, and we also experience that. So that what happens is, the time of, even now we get everybody gets into, we're all humans, we all get back, but the time to bounce back has reduced a lot. I bounce back quicker, and that's where experience gives it. So today we lose something, we try to bounce back faster. The experience and this thing is just because we have learned, and why we do all these sessions to freshers and all this. If our experience can shorten the learning curve for somebody else, that's the beautiful thing to do. So you learn from experience. Look for, it's always, and if you prepare something very well, right, you would have learned something. Even if that is not successful, that learning is you cannot measure it, because it will be useful somewhere else. I have done one prototype. I went to the presentation, spent about 2-3 weeks of hard time, went there, presented it. It was rejected, but the 3 weeks of knowledge, that I think it's been useful in multiple aspects of life and career.
Okay. Thanks, Dr. Ashwin. Actually, that was the final query which we got about 10 minutes. Guys, one more final take. If you have any questions, please post it in the box right now. Can we have a couple of minutes, Ashwin, till whether if
No.
just
yeah. So okay. You are able to see the slide, right? You are able
yes,
to,
yes, I can see it now.
You can see the slide.
Yeah.
So we can see just a recap for so people, if they have some questions, they can. Positive intent is 2 parts: self and others. That's a very important concept, and this is about creating positive outcomes for yourself and also thinking positive about the situation. So that's it. In this particular slide, the takeaway from this is about 2 things, and you can talk about positive intent creation in yourself and about the situation. If you search on Google, assume positive intent, the second part is so much covered in Google. Self is also covered, but others, if you search for assume positive intent, you will see a lot of topics, a lot of leaders have talked about it. You can use that. And this is the, to end from my side, this is the, in the series, we have covered technology, management, communication. Today we focused on positive intention. The next 4 things would be emotional intelligence, soft skills, personal USP, and learning skills. So whoever is interested can join and get benefited from the slides. That's it from my side. Naveen, if there are some questions, we'll take it. Otherwise, we'll call it.
1 second. No, Dr. Ashwin, there hasn't been any questions yet. So I think that would be it for the day. Yeah. So once again, yeah, thanks, Dr. Ashwin.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
For the students, thank you so much for taking your time and joining this leadership talk series. As you're aware, this series would go on till mid of October now. Every Thursday we will have a session, and make sure that if you're going to share it with your friends, we will post this video in Facebook. Feel free to take the link and share it with your friends. Okay, and once again, thank you, Dr. Ashwin, for taking the time to not only deliver the session but also help resolve the queries of all the candidates. Thank you.
Thank you. Wishing you all most and more in this journey of getting qualified, being employable, and everything else in life. Thank you. Thanks, Naveen. Thanks, Kriti. Thanks for the opportunity.